Hello, Ariana. Thank you for joining us today. Oh, sorry if I butcher these usernames. Roro Dar, SwiftFan1231988. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm just gonna wait for a couple other people. Hi, Josh. Josh, in true Mitra fashion, I tipped over my tea right before I came on here, so. Hello, Danny. I'm just waiting for my girl Basma to join us here. Hi, Robbie. That's my husband in the room next to me. Let me wave to you guys. Fun. Hi, Brock. Hi, Mary. Thank you for coming, you guys. Let's see here. Oh, I think her request will show up. I'll just wait. I'm waving at you guys. Oh, thank you for the hearts, Mary. What are you guys up to? Is it morning? Is it evening where you are? What are you doing? Hi, Lizzie. Thanks for joining. Hello. Thank you for joining. Let me wave back. Just waiting for our friend Basma. Super excited to talk to her today about mental health and relationships. 1:02 in the afternoon. Okay, so you're probably on the East Coast. That's nice. What's the weather like over there? Hi. Thank you, Carolina. I'm glad you love your genteel, Lizzie. That makes us super happy to hear. Oh, it's cold over there? Oh, I'm sorry. Hopefully your drink is not iced and it's warm and toasty. Yeah, I think maybe she is having connection issues. I'm not sure, but there she is. Hi. Let me see. Aim, hi, Aim. I'm just going to take the first few letters of your usernames and just turn them into nicknames. Go. Let's see here.
Hello.
Hi, beautiful woman. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, beautiful?
Good. I'm so excited to chat with you this morning.
Oh, hi.
Lizzie, hi to you.
Hi, Liz. I was just going through all the comments. I was like, oh, my name's being mentioned. I love that.
Oh my gosh. Feel free to go ahead and look at the comments. I am always scared that I'm going to touch the screen and just like camera. So I'm just like very like ginger.
Ooh, apparently we look like twins. I'll take that.
I think I heard someone say that we look related before. Diabetes team. Well, we're soul sisters. So
exactly. So that's all that matters. Hi, Rena. I'm excited.
Well, thank you again for joining us. I feel ever since I first saw you online, I feel like you have such a great way of connecting with people individually. I mean, I do responding to comments, like every single one of them, like you'll make long stories of, what methods work, for migraines, for example. I remember you did that a few weeks ago. And just so you guys know, those stories take a lot of time. Like, Boz is sitting here between classes and, making little like graphics for you guys to post and share. So I hope you know that Gentile sees that and appreciates that. And I'm sure everyone joining today does as well.
Thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate it. It's I've always said that social media is my like outlet. So, you know, with school, and just like regular stressors of my life, social media is where I go and I feel safe here,
Yeah.
which I think is really important because I like to think that I've created a really great community on here. And so that's why I feel so safe and so welcome. And I love getting lost in like the little things, you know, creating the stories and coming up with things to put or things to talk about. So I love it.
And viewing all those usernames as like real people behind the screen, like
Absolutely.
about it, like to think that you have 3,000 followers now, like that's 3,000 real organic people that are following your story. And that's why I want you to talk about this topic today, you know, mental health awareness month. And originally I wanted to just talk about relationships, but after our initial conversation, I realized that they're so, you know, interconnected. So I just wanted to kind of ask our audience and see like what they wanted to hear, what questions they had. And then I had a couple of my own questions that I wanted to ask you too.
Okay, I'm excited. And
So,
yes, this is Chloe Lizzie. She's right.
yes. Oh, look at Chloe. Oh my gosh.
She's like, is that Chloe? I was like, yep, that's
Mochi is just asleep behind me right now.
Aww.
All right. So, from my perspective, since I don't have diabetes, I asked you what's something that someone without diabetes can do or know or be aware of to make you feel safe or make their loved ones feel safe?
Yes. One of the biggest things that I have found helped me growing up, my parents were really adamant about it, and I've carried into all of my relationships since then, since becoming an adult, is feeling supported. So that obviously entails a lot of things. It's different for everybody. You know, I have friends that like to vent, but they don't want to hear, you know, opinions back, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is totally a way to be supported. You want to be able to air your feelings out, but you don't want to necessarily have like things being told that you need to do, right?
Yeah.
For me, one of the biggest ways that I can feel supported is just by having someone, and that can be, you know, a non T1D or a T1D, both alike, just willing to listen, willing to learn about my diabetes, willing to learn about certain things that I may need or when I may need them. And we don't expect, you know, especially when it comes to our non T1D friends, we don't expect you guys to, you know, be ready for everything and memorize everything about, you know, our management. That would be way too big of an ask. It takes us years to get to that point ourselves. But
Yeah.
just the willingness, and the fact that you guys care and that you show that you care, I think is one of the biggest takeaways that I've learned, is that I always feel more comfortable in that friendship or that relationship or sitting with that person for hours, because I know that if something were to go wrong, they'd be willing to learn what it is that I need at that moment.
Absolutely. And just being around you, I'm sure like observing like your what you have to do daily, that in and of itself is huge. And just kind of opening your circle instead of, you know, using media to define your idea of diabetes, ask the real people that are living with it. And because it's hard sometimes to ask about things that you don't know about, and so people
Exactly.
feel very self-conscious.
Yeah.
So think you in turn also do a really great job of like that, creating that safe space where people can ask questions and
Yeah.
can, and you're much more than your diabetes as well. I mean, you share so many elements and aspects of your life. And I think as a creator in the diabetes space, it's really easy to feel limited.
Mm-hmm.
um, so I love what you're doing there too, just kind of
Thank
sharing.
you. You're so sweet. You're one of my biggest hype women. I love it.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah, I want going back on what you said about you can feel overwhelmed asking questions. I think that's something that we don't give enough credit to our non T1D friends and family members, is that diabetes is really intimidating. Like it's a big thing, you know, it's a big part of your life. And for friends or family members, it becomes a big part of their life. So sometimes it can be kind of daunting to be like, well, what can I do if something wrong happens? Because we don't, you know, we tend as a society to, if we don't talk about something, it won't happen, right?
Yep.
If we don't talk about you going low or you going super high, then it won't happen, right? But I think it's better to be prepared than it is to be left questioning, well, what could I have done earlier or sooner to help mitigate whatever just happened right now. So I think, you know, as a T1D, I try to give more credit for my non-T1D friends and family members that feel a little overwhelmed by asking me. It's a safe space. I always like to say that there are no stupid questions. And then on the other hand as well, we don't expect you guys to know it all. Don't worry. We'll show you what needs to be shown. We'll tell you what we need.
Yeah.
We're pretty vocal. Don't worry.
And that's, you know, talking about relationships, I think one of the reasons that you're so good at what you do now is because your wonderful mother gave you so many tools and resources by, you know, taking you to ADA events and these, you know, times where you can network not only professionally but on a soul level and find lifetime friends. Like I'd love to hear just like how integral those relationships have been for you.
Oh, absolutely. So, for those of you who may not know, I was diagnosed when I was 3. So, I've had it for most of my life. I'm now 24. And my parents, my mom especially, was really adamant about getting us involved. Since I was young, I've always kind of been a little hesitant about telling people that I have diabetes. And so that kind of carried out throughout. But I do appreciate the fact that she always supported me and she always encouraged me. Whether I took that decision or not, she left up to me, which I think is super important because it allowed me to kind of grow into who I am as a woman, but also as a woman with type 1 diabetes. But we were always at events, and I started going to a diabetes camp when I was 5, that was life changing for me because I had no idea.
Quite life changing.
It was life changing because let me tell you, I literally thought I was the only one in the world with diabetes because nobody in my school had it. I was the only one. And so I didn't see anybody with diabetes and I didn't have any friends with diabetes. We didn't really know families with diabetes yet. So I literally thought I was the only one. I was like, wow, like this is sad. Like, why am I the only one with diabetes? So when I went to camp, I saw all these kids, older than me, younger than me, at my same age. I saw adults, I saw teen aides, and I started feeling a sense of community, which is really the gap that I'm trying to bridge here. Is that sense of community makes a person feel so less alone, and it makes you feel so a part of a bigger entity. And so that was life changing because I stopped being so stubborn about shots because I saw other people taking shots and I wanted to be more in charge of my own management because I saw other 5-year-olds, you know, being in charge of their management. So it was definitely life changing. I know it sounds like a little thing, but in retrospect, it was huge for me. And so ever since then, just going to the ADA and JDRF and all of these events and not really just organizations, but just like meetups and things like that has been really amazing for me. And like you said, meeting your soul people, meeting your dia buddies, the people that get what you go through on an everyday basis is a connection that I don't think you really find in normal relationships because without even talking, we already understand what we go through. You know, with one glance, I'm like, oh, you look low. Are you low? It's like a different language.
Of
So
course.
that's all I have to say about that.
I mean, it's so true to have those connections of people that can truly not just sympathize, but empathize with everything through. It's so important. Do you feel like it's, you know, because of social media, it's easier to meet those communities and get connected? Like, when do you feel like, or do you feel like it's not as mainstream as it should be? Like, what are your thoughts on like really promoting social media as a way to mitigate mental health implications?
I feel both. I didn't know that this community existed when I first joined social media. My
Yeah.
hopes in bridging the gap after I was National Youth Advocate when I came back from that year, my whole thing about social media was like, well, there's got to be a way that I can continue advocacy, but on a local, but even more than a local level, just on social media, so I can you know get to know more people and reach more people.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I feel like not a lot of people know how to go about that. Not a lot of people know how to start searching for those communities.
Yeah.
When it comes to mental health, that's even more so. You know, people don't know what resources are available to them. People don't know, you know, who they can turn to, what providers they can turn to. And so, excuse me, Um, what I've always said, and I just had a class on policy in nursing school this past semester, and I was thinking about this a lot, is that the way that we make resources available is super important. For mental health, I think we've shined a big light on that this past year.
Yeah.
But just accessibility, that's something that we're kind of lacking in right now, when it comes to accessibility to diabetes programs for everyone that are, low cost or no cost at all, things like that. But then also accessibility to mental health initiatives is super important. We all go through it,
Yeah.
and people with diabetes are just known to be at a higher risk for depression and anxiety and all those things.
I think it
Um,
was 2 to 3 times more likely.
exactly, 2 to 3 times more likely. I mean, we literally play doctor, nurse, pharmacist, technician, like all in one, right? So it's almost, you almost like expect that to kind of be like a side load, right? But
Yeah.
when you're first diagnosed, nobody tells you that. Nobody gives you the warning signs. Nobody tells you like, hey, this is going to be a huge plate on your shoulder, but you are supported, and here's who you can turn to if you need it. I hope you get better about that. But I think that, to answer your question, yes, they are readily available, but no, they aren't readily available. It really just depends on whether you are able to find them, whether you know how to find them, or you have somebody in your life that's willing to help you figure it out. But once you figure it out, I would like to think that there are choices. Can there be more? Absolutely. I think there can always be more, and um, a greater reach needs to be
Yeah.
done, but it's kind of one of those tricky questions.
I mean, you're absolutely right in the sense that the technological divide is a very real thing. Like,
Right.
not everyone has access to an iPhone and a Wi-Fi to be able to participate in these communities. So
Yeah.
the fact that we have this is, it's a privilege. And I think as like in the position that we are in as creators, we can go above and beyond to make it more accessible by, organizing fundraisers,
Yeah.
and whether that be, after COVID doing meet and greets and, networking in that way and trying to just find audiences that wouldn't have those resources otherwise. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
100% agree.
Well, let me not get too off track here. I have a tendency to go on tangents. So
I know. No, if we just had a live, we should just have a live like us two. We would be here for days, you guys. Like days, just talking.
we're both chatterboxes.
Yes, yes, we are.
So, I mean, this second question kind of leads into what we've been talking about.
Mhm.
Like, other than mental health, what other topics do you think need to be talked about more in this space? And really quickly, I guess, knowing that you want to get your NP in midwifery, that tells me that there's a lot of like women's topics you probably have insight on that the rest of us wouldn't. Like, are there any topics in that space that you'd want to comment on?
Yeah, women's health is something that I oddly found myself very interested in from a young age. I have no idea where it came from, except the fact that my mom loves loves children, loves women's health, and she was always an advocate. Growing up myself, just to if I don't feel comfortable, tell the doctor. If I don't want this, tell so that kind of thing. And I think that's where it stemmed off of. But I think two things: diabetes and pregnancy is not spoken about. You're labeled as a high risk pregnancy, and then you're shuffled off to see, I think, two OBs during your, like, two different types of OBs during your pregnancy.
Yeah.
Again, I don't have kids, so I don't know exactly, but this is what I've read up so far. Um, and so it's kind of daunting. Like, this should be the happiest moment of your life. But of course, diabetes comes in and kind of overshadows it. And you're more so worried about your child. You're more so worried about your blood sugars and your ranges and all that stuff. I think that I would like to see more spoken about this. And I follow some amazing women who have type 1 diabetes and have had kids or are having kids, and they share about that. And to me, that makes me feel better, because I know, like, once I get to that point in my life, I can do it too. I too
You
can.
already have that community.
Exactly. I can figure it out. I have people that I can reach out to. Another thing is just female mortality when it comes to childbirth, and especially when it comes to minorities. That's something that I learned a lot more about this past semester as well. And I have OB next semester, and I'm sure I'll learn more about it. But it's kind of it's really sad to just think that certain minorities are at greater risk for losing their life, and or losing their newborn, just because proper care isn't allocated to those people, or their concerns aren't listened to as highly as maybe another group of people. So obviously we can get much more deeper into this, but
Yeah.
those two I think would be like the biggest things that I truly care about when it comes to women's health.
Yeah. And that's so amazing that that's just kind of been innately a point of interest for you, because that only tells me that when you get to that point of your journey in womanhood, that you are going to continue to be such an inspiration to other people. Like, I don't think that you are going to ever lose that spark or fire in you to like share and make people feel like they can engage with you. So
Thank you. Yeah, I hope that, once I get to that place in my life, like I've shared with you, I want to be an NP, I want to be a midwife. So I want to deliver babies, and I'd like to think that I'm going to hopefully be a part of the change. I know that, one person, like, can they really be a part of the change? But I think so. I think that, if you holler loud enough, if you create enough disruption, if you, push the envelope far enough, that you can instill change. And I'd like to see change when it comes to women's health, and I'd like to see change when it comes to minorities and pregnancy. I want to see that, and so hopefully, when I get there, I can learn more about these topics and know more about them just from experience as well, and I can do that. So I appreciate that.
of course. Well, I'm excited to see it and everything you do. To go on hearted topic,
I know, right?
I mean, trust me, I can sit here and have deep talks about all of this stuff for hours.
Same.
We can do
Same.
that off time. Um, all right. So I believe, oh yes, this is from Type 1 MUA. She asks, when do you bring up diabetes when dating someone new?
Okay. People might not like this response, but I think it truly depends on you.
Yeah.
There is no right or wrong. Obviously, we want to be able to tell the person sooner rather than later, because again, it's a sensitive subject in which if something happens, you want that person to kind of know what's going on. And if an emergency were to occur, we would have to tell personnel, right? However, again, it's got to come from a place where you're comfortable, because I've always said this, but if you bring it up in a lighthearted manner and you're like, oh, hey, by the way, like, as you're pulling out to inject or pulling out your pump, I have type 1 diabetes. Just want to let you know, and you make it into this, like, yeah, you're just like swinging your pump around, like a lasso. Exactly. That's what I thought about. If you make it in a lighthearted way and you make it so that you are open to questions, like you show that person that I'm open to questions, go ahead and ask me, we can go deeper into this. It doesn't have to be like a, hey, I have diabetes, okay, cool, bye. Then that person is going to be a lot more open and receptive to receiving it. I'd like to think, it's all about in your delivery. And then if you're more comfortable, obviously, then that's going to make it easier. So I've had both stories. I've said it right from the bat, and I've also not said it right from the bat, because I was at two different stages in my life where I felt really comfortable about my diabetes versus I didn't feel really comfortable about my diabetes. I've also had, I once went on a date with a guy who found out on his own. He went on the good old IG,
Oh,
and followed me, and was really supportive, and like started just, I post a lot about diabetes, so it's not like it's gonna go unnoticed. Um, and even in that sense, I was like, oh, like I didn't really have to do much, which we T1D, we diabetes, we people with diabetes like our control. So that was a little like, I didn't get to tell him, but it's okay. Like, let's kind of vibe out and see how this goes. And it worked out actually really well. And I've had the complete opposite as well, where, that person did not show me such grace, and was not so open. And that tells you a lot about the person that you're with. So either way, it's a learning experience.
yeah. It's like fun. Let's see if he passes this one.
It's like one of the biggest tests, let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Letting someone know, because I have heard of stories where people don't feel so supported, and that that person that they're with, their partner, makes it as if it's like their issue and they're a burden, and you should never if there is one thing you take away from this IG live, you should never feel like a burden. Whether you have diabetes or you don't ever let someone put that weight on you, because we all have something.
Yep.
Let's be honest. We've all got something that, you know, makes us a little quirky, or, you know, gives us a little rough around our edges. Like, we've all got something, and if we don't have it now, we will, I'm sure, in 10 or 15 more years. Nobody's perfect. But to be with someone who makes you feel like that all the time just isn't good for your mental sanity. Don't do it.
Yeah, that applies, like you said, to like so many other issues in life. So I think that that is a wonderful, wonderful point and a wonderful note to end on. Thank you so much, Bob.
You're so welcome.
Before we leave, I do want to let you guys know, if you use the coupon code BOSS the Boss, that's BASTHEBOSS, you will get 10% off of your Genteel. So if you've been kind of eyeing us or seeing if you want to try us, first of all, go watch the review Basma did. She goes really in depth on why Genteel is a good fit for her. And yeah, so go on the website, shop, and go stalk Basma on Instagram now.
Oh my gosh, no, but seriously, thank you for having me, and just thank you to my Genteel as well. But thank you to you, because you've been an amazing friend, and I hope everybody knows that when I really like partner with brands, I really like to partner with the people behind the face of the brand. And I think this is just an opportunity for me to say that you guys have been amazing people. And so I think all of you guys should know that when influencers, I'd like to think when influencers talk about brands, they talk about them from a place of love, and not just because it's like a job. So I truly love my Genteel. I love my device. It really is like painless for me, which I was a little like, I was like, how can a device be painless? It really is painless, you guys. So it's really nice when I take a break from my Dexcom, or I need to check my blood sugar or recalibrate. It's amazing. So yeah,
I love
gotta
you.
put in a little spiel.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to be writing up a little blog on this. So if you know someone who wanted to watch and missed it, make sure to go on the website, on the blog, and I will make a fun little transcript.
Ooh, I feel so fancy.
All right. Bye, Basma.
Bye, guys.
What is up, guys?